I here. This is a reading for the sign of Scorpio. We're going to do a Celtic cross spread with the Thoth deck, and then we're going to pull 3 cards from the Shadow deck to see if there's any confirmations or background energies or emotions or anything else we need to be made aware of that doesn't come through in the main reading. So let's just see what happens. All right. So we are channeling the energy of Scorpio today. So let's see what messages we can get for the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio is your sun, your moon, your rising, wherever it fits in your chart. You can use that as a way to sort of maybe color how this message resonates with you. And if it doesn't resonate at all, that's fine. You can always check your other placements, or you can use your own intuition to see if maybe parts of it come through and mean something to you. Or you can just stick around and enjoy the presentation and, just see what's going on in the world of Scorpio today. But always never force anything. If it doesn't fit, don't try to make it fit. That's not the whole point of tarot. It is a self-reflective exercise, at least at some level. So just let these messages resonate with you as you see fit. And if there's anything that I say that doesn't quite fit, again, let it go. And if you see more in these cards than what I say, or if something I say, you disagree with a interpretation, that's fine. Use your own judgment, your own interpretations, your own intuition to get whatever messages you need to receive as you're watching this. And again, at the very least, I hope you can at least enjoy seeing a little bit of my interpretation of what I think the message is that's coming through with these cards. So, just have fun with it at the very least. All right, so let's see what we can get for the sign of Scorpio. I hope you're having a great day so far. I hope, whatever tasks you have planned for the day, if you're watching this in the evening, I hope you got them all done. If you're watching this in the morning, good luck with all of the things you wish to accomplish today. At the very least, I hope you have an enjoyable day. And if it has to be or should be one of those days where you just need to take it light and just sort of relax, I hope you're able to get that too. Whatever you need, just wishing you a good day. So, all right, I think we've got a pretty good shuffle here. Let us see what we get, what comes through. We'll interpret these cards, and then we'll see what the Shadow deck has to say afterwards. Okay, so here we go. Let us now get a reading for the sign of Scorpio. Oh, look at that, 6 of Cups. Very nice, happy start. A little bit of nostalgic, happy positivity. The pleasure card. All right, crossed with worry. So there's some interesting contrasts. Let's see if we can get some context to all of this. We have the 7 of Discs. We have the Fool. That's a nice card there in the near future. We have, in our unconscious energy, the Devil. And we have the 3 of Swords. So, okay, this is getting interesting. Let's see what do we have over here with our last 4 cards. We have Adjustment or Judgment, the 4 of Swords, the Tower, and the 2 of Pentacles or Discs. So we're going to see what is on the back side of this deck here after we do an interpretation of all the cards that are out. And this will be representing what we don't see coming. And I think we'll get better context for that if we make sense of everything that we've seen so far. So before we jump into seeing what's going on here, which this looks interesting. I'm curious to see what we get as we dive through this. Let's take stock of what we have here. So we've got, as far as major arcana go, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a pretty solid amount. That's good. That's nice and balanced. As far as our suits go, we have no court cards. So I'm thinking that sort of suggests that maybe this is a more personal, internal situation. It's not something involving other people so much as maybe your own personal issues or situations or projects that you're going through. And let's look at the distribution of energies here. So we've got, as far as Earth energy goes, we have 1, 2, 3 cards from the Suit of Pentacles. As far as water energy goes, we have just the 1, 6 of Cups from the Suit of Cups. So just a little bit of water energy. As far as the air energy goes, we have 2 cards from the Suit of Swords. And I see no fire energy here. Okay, so there's sort of a coldness to this. So So we've got a nice cold Scorpio reading here. There is a little bit of emotional energy here, but it's mostly having to do with earth and air energy. So again, this feels very cold and sort of almost a little rigid to me is how I'm feeling this. So let's dive in and see what these cards are saying. So we start here in the present moment with our Six of Cups energy. This is pleasure. This is nostalgia. This is looking back into the past and, appreciating the places that we've been and the emotions that those have brought us and giving us a nice positive sort of glow internally. I don't know so much that this is saying that you are having something nostalgic from your past come back in. Maybe it is. Maybe you're reconnecting with someone from your past. But as I'm not seeing any court cards here, I am thinking that this is more likely you sort of reflecting upon the happiness of where you've been in the past and sort of trying to contextualize that within your present moment, which everything else here feels much more cold and stiff. And other than the Fool here in the center and the Tower over here, everything else feels like it's very stuck and stiff. So let's see how that all fits together with this positive energy that is sort of inside of you, but is being crossed here with worry. So we have the Five of Pentacles. I think this joy of this reflective, nostalgic energy is being sort of pushed down by you with concerns about your physical situation. And I don't necessarily mean your health. Maybe it is your health. But I think it's more your finances and the sort of world that you're building around yourself. The Five is a card of sort of short-term troubles that you have to get through. Maybe you're worried about your finances. Maybe you've got problems around the house that you need to take care of, and you're worried you're not going to be able to handle all of it. Thankfully, the Five of Pentacles is short-term problems. It's not something that's necessarily going to be a long-term struggle that you have to overcome. But I think that the joy that you want to feel is being covered up by these concerns of every day. How do I pay the bills? How do I make sure that all my finances are in check? How do I make sure that everything I need to do is taken care of properly? And I think this comes out of maybe a natural, I think you've been in this state for some time. In your recent past, we have the Seven of Pentacles, which in the Thoth version of this card, it looks very dark and sort of gloomy. This is usually represented in most decks as a card that has some kind of tree or plant that's growing. This is representative of putting a lot of work into something, putting a lot of effort into something, and not seeing the results right away. So it's a position where you're working really, really hard, and you're doing what you need to do, and you're wondering, is it all for nothing? I put all this time and all this work into building something, and it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. Maybe it is. And that's why you're presently crossed by this worry of, do I need to keep doing this? Do I need to keep putting all of this time and effort into something that doesn't feel like it's growing? Now, this here it says the failure card, but it's more of perceived failure. It could grow into something very positive, but at least from where you're standing, it doesn't look like it's going super great. It looks like you're a little concerned about whether or not this is worth your time and effort. And underneath it all, you really want to just be happy. You just want to feel joy, and you feel like you can't because I think work is sort of burdening you and holding you back and keeping you from being able to figure out what you need to do to have joy and freedom. And I think what you really desire is a future of pure freedom. I think you feel cooped up, caged, and ready to just jump out with that free-flowing, full air energy of just, I don't care. I don't care about whether or not my bills are paid. I just want to get out there and be happy. I want to get to my pleasure, and I feel like the only way to do so is to just abandon everything and walk away and just be free. Now, be careful with that. I mean, that's a very positive attitude to take, but again, at the end of the day, you do need a foundation, financial stability to be able to survive and progress forward. So I think you have this desire, and I think you're going to break free in some form or fashion, but just be careful not to be too, gung-ho about just letting it all fall away, okay? Now, here in your unconscious energy, you have the Devil. I think this is also what is fueling this desire to break free. This is someone who wants to, this can either mean that you're being held back by your own insecurities, your concerns, and, you're worried that this is all for nothing, it's not going anywhere, and this is that voice in your head that's saying, yeah, you're probably this is where you're supposed to be. This is your sort of negative voice in your head telling you that you're not going to break out of this, so you might as well just get comfortable and stay where you are and don't do anything about it. I mean, I could see this sort of maybe going two ways. I see this as either being the voice in your head that's saying, stay where you are, stay comfortable, don't worry about fixing whatever this sort of rut you're in is, just keep going and do what you need to do. Or it could also be, in some level, the rebellious energy that's pushing you to the other extreme, that's saying, break it all down, burn it all down, just jump into the free-flowing freedom of the future, and don't worry about anything. And honestly, both of those extremes are not where you want to go. You want to find somewhere in the middle. You want to be able to break out of your head and not just be stuck in this, like, do I do this? Do I do that? Do I do this? Do I do that? You need to be able to think clearly if you really want to get to this, back to this joy that you've had in the past. Okay, so be careful about what the devil is telling you here. Use that energy, use that desire, that sort of rebellious power that the devil channels, but don't let him convince you to go down either one extreme too far. Don't stay where you are and do nothing, but don't burn it all down either. And what is now above all of this, so this is your unconscious energy. And your conscious energy, what is sort of in front of you, it's motivating you forward, is the Three of Swords. This is also a very negative card. This is the card of heartbreak, of feeling a wound, some sort of emotional wound that you just sort of keep picking at. So, maybe you felt some kind of relationship or loss or some kind of difficult situation that really affected you. And rather than letting it heal, rather than treating the wound and letting it get better, you're just poking at it. You're just thinking about it. You're dwelling on the failure of a past, and it's not letting you get anywhere. And honestly, that makes me a little more inclined to think that what the devil is saying here is that you're working really hard because you feel like some situation has left you sort of broken and hurt, and I think it's maybe hurting your ego to some degree, and it's keeping you in this position of worry rather than this position of pleasure and freedom that you really want to get into. The devil is this negative energy that's just poking and prodding and overthinking and replaying that same cycle of negativity again and again and again, and never really breaking free of all that negative energy to be free like the Fool is here. And I think these two cards together, I think, are kind of behaving like a pinch point in your timeline. You're working really hard. You want to make sure you maintain that level of work ethic that's going to propel you forward, but it's being completely blocked by this pressure that's coming from the above and below. You're wounding yourself with these negative memories, and you're letting the devil tell you that this is how it's supposed to be. This is supposed to be the negative experience. And you can, like I said, you can almost think of it as like you're trying to progress forward, and there's this gate that's blocking you, and that's what this worry is that's manifesting in your present. But you can get past it. You can break free. You can become the Fool. Again, don't be too irrational. Don't just burst through it. Use some balance. That's what the Adjustment card is here. So this is your present energy. I think this is a card that's representing either where you are now or where you are sort of beginning to realize you need to be, is the Adjustment card. You need to seek some level of balance and adjustment so that, this negativity that's saying everything is awful and it's going to stay bad and I'm just going to be stuck in this rut forever, think about that and sort of balance between the two extremes of breaking free entirely and doing absolutely nothing. Be logical, be rational, think through an actual plan, and then try to implement it. So here is your present environment. Where you are in your environment, this is the Truce card. And usually this in the Rider-Waite deck, you see an actual tomb, and there's inside the tomb is a soldier who is just sitting there, and he's presumably dead or resting, but he's in a moment of just quiet contemplation and recovering from a battle that has just happened. So here, I think in the present moment, again, I feel everything is sort of stuck. You're kind of feeling cold. You have this energy that's wanting to propel you forward using this joy from the past, but you're feeling very confined and stuck. And this is the environment that you're in where you have all of these ideas that are all just, again, pinching you to this point where you can't progress forward anymore. You're just stuck in this moment. And again, I think you want to make sure that you are evaluating all of this negative energy and acknowledging it and not just ignoring it and letting it continue to hurt you, but you want to adjust to it. The things that are pushing you in one way, push back in just the right way so that you can kind of balance these scales out and get to a point where, maybe you're in some kind of wheel here, some kind of wagon, and one wheel is higher than the other, and you're not going to go anywhere because you're kind of bouncing back and forth. Let this negative energy help you readjust so that you can find balance and move forward through this timeline here. That's what I think you really want to be doing with this adjustment card. And you're in this position right now where you're kind of trying to retune the machine that's pushing you forward and trying to fix the things that are broken rather than just continuing to put in a lot of energy. Like, maybe you're sitting there, the car is broken, the engine needs some work, and rather than dipping under the hood and actually doing the work of fixing it, you just keep putting new coats of paint on it and saying, look how pretty this car in my garage is that doesn't run. So take the time to really adjust and fix what's going on the inside if you really want to break free and have this freedom in your future. Now, what you don't want, and I agree, is the tower. You do not want to just burst through this. If we're sticking with this metaphor of this car in the garage, maybe the car kind of runs, but it's not properly running. You don't want to just open up the garage, hit the gas, and push forward, or you're going to blow out the engine and be in a worse position. You want to avoid having everything around you fall apart by getting frustrated. And again, this is another thing the devil could be potentially tempting you to do, is to fix this problem by just saying, F it, I'm going to just do my own thing and, let it all burn. And if you do that, usually a tower card is a positive thing. It means that something that needs to be let go of or something that needs to be broken down should be broken down. But I almost see this in this particular reading as being more of this is actually a tower that I think you can avert. You do not have to worry about this tower breaking down, but part of that comes from realizing that you need to leave the tower. Rather than holding yourself up inside of the tower, not going anywhere, you need to come down, walk out the gates openly. The devil card, he is someone who traps you inside of a prison of your own making. And I think if you walk outside of the tower, you don't have to worry about being inside of it when it all comes crumbling down. But that means acknowledging that the work you're doing is not necessarily bad, but you're not doing it in a constructive way. You're poking and prodding at your own past pains and worrying about your situation rather than putting in the time and effort to fix the things that need to be adjusted and properly retuned so that you can break out of this cold stillness and move into something more positive and enjoyable. And that's why up here we have as the outcome the change card. You need to get in balance all of the things that are sort of out of whack from whatever situation that is that's got you stuck in this rut. And by taking the time and effort to work through those things and making a choice to not just stay inside of the tower and let everything get worse, you're going to be able to change your situation and move into a more positive, enjoyable future where you can have the freedom of the fool and not necessarily be the fool that's dancing on the ruins of the tower that just came down around him. It's a much more enjoyable experience if you can leave the tower and have this freedom to not just be, dancing in the ruins, but you can use that fool energy to propel you forward and use it sort of constructively and creatively to do something more enjoyable and pleasurable with your life, rather than just dancing on your own failures, which getting out of the situation is good no matter what, but it'd be better if you can avoid this tower situation and enjoy it because you chose to take your power back to get that freedom. So that's what I see here. So, all right, let's see what we have here and what you don't see coming on the bottom of the deck. Okay, so we have the Seven of Cups, which is another card of water energy. I think what you don't see coming is, how I interpret this, is that if you don't take the effort to adjust and fix your situation and leave the tower rather than letting it fall around you, you're going to be stuck in a position where you might think you're feeling the Six of Cups joy. You might think you're getting all that positive energy that you really want, but it's going to be a sort of stale facsimile of the thing you really want. The Seven of Cups isn't bad, but does this look like water you really want to be drinking? Are these the emotions that you really want to be filling your internal life with? No, you want to be filling it with this kind of happy, positive energy, or even better, you want to be filling it with a 9 or a 10 of cups, something much, much better. A 7 is sort of like a cheap consolation prize, and you can probably get that if you listen to the devil. Maybe he's tempting you to say, just stay here and enjoy this, or, you know, maybe break free. And both of those two extremes are going to probably lead you to a situation to where what you're feeling is going to be less enjoyable than what it otherwise could be. So let's make positive changes here rather than just taking the consolation prize. Okay, so now let us see what we have in the shadow deck. This will conclude our reading. So we're going to pull 3 cards from this deck and see if there's any confirmations or anything else we should be made aware of. I'm not sure what I want to see here. Maybe it'll give us a little bit more clarity on what it is that has led you to be stuck in this position, or maybe some more advice on how to deal with the devil, or maybe some advice on how to avoid this tower that you don't want. Okay, so let's do one more. That wasn't great. Let's do another one. Much better. Okay. Okay, so we have the 5 of Spheres, which is the 5 of Pentacles, the 9 of Spheres, and the Queen of Wands. We finally have a court card that popped up here. So again, I think you have been troubled by this worry for quite some time. Even though you've been putting in the work, I almost think that this is sort of implying that what motivates you to put in that work is really worry more than success. You're working really, really hard, but for the wrong reasons. You're working because you want to avoid worry rather than because you want to succeed, which, I mean, that's better than not working, right? You're putting in your time and your effort, but you want to make sure that you're motivated because you're working towards something rather than trying to run away from something, which is what I think this is implying. Now, the 9 of Spheres, this is a fantastic card. This is the card that is, you know, when you have put in the effort and the work to achieve what it is that you want to achieve, this is the card where you get to sit back in your garden. You know, you've put in the time, you've done all this great landscaping, you've made a beautiful garden for you to just enjoy the fruits, the literal fruits of your labor. You know, maybe you're actually growing crops there as well. And so this is a card of success and happiness. But it's more of an internal individual success. I usually think of the 9 of Spheres and Pentacles and Discs as this is you achieving your goals just before you then use those to help the rest of the community with the 10 of Cups. So here, the pleasure that you're looking for is you're trying to achieve this goal. And this is what should be motivating you rather than what seems to be the thing that's motivating you in the past. And I want to see you move from a position of being motivated to put the effort in to get away from struggle and put the energy in to try and get towards this 9 of Spheres. And that's what's going to make you feel much happier, is getting away from this worry and doing things because they're what you want, not because you're trying to avoid something you don't want. It's a much more positive outlook, at least. Here, this Fool energy, on top of it, we have the Queen of Wands, and maybe there is, to some degree, a sort of another person that's motivating you. This is, the Queen of Wands is a very no-nonsense, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, I'm going to embody my own power, no one's going to tell me what to be or what to do, I am my own queen, I do not take crap from anyone, I am going to be myself, and you are going to appreciate that whether you like it or not. And I think it'd be really nice, either this is someone you're working towards, or this is you yourself and what you want to empower. And so maybe you perceive that energy as manifesting as the Fool, someone who just goes in and does whatever they want. But the Queen of Wands isn't a fool. She comes in and she has the authority and the power to say, this is who I am. This is not random. I'm not doing this just because I want to be crazy and chaotic. There is a crazy, chaotic allure to her. I mean, she's engulfed in flames. That's intense. But it's not chaotic. It's just that is the energy that she puts out because she's just so powerful. It almost burns the things around her because she just glows with so much energy. And this is what I think you want to be. You see that as being Fool-like energy, but there's a lot more intentionality to it. And I think that's why you also put in this work where this failure is what you're feeling, but you're feeling that failure because you're motivated by this idea of trying to avoid failure. Where if you put in the amount of energy you're putting into this 7 of Discs and you do it to make yourself become this Queen of Wands or to work towards some person that you perceive as your Queen of Wands, that is going to make you feel much more happier and much more in your own power and strength. So that's what I want to see you work towards. So that feels really good. What you don't see coming in the shadow deck is the Six of Swords, and this is actually a really, really good card to get. This is a card of sword energy, air energy is your thoughts and the way you're perceiving things. So to get the Six of Swords here is saying that you are reevaluating from your past failures. And the Five of Swords, that's representative of some kind of battle where you did not come out victorious. And the Six of Swords is responding to that failure by readjusting your situation, readjusting your thoughts, reevaluating what you want to do, and then going on a quest to sort of put that back out into the world, learn from your mistakes, and start a whole new journey where you're going to begin a new chapter where you're going to be more powerful than you were when you lost. This is the card of when failure arises, using your mind to adjustment in this situation of rest after this combat that you've gone through, and taking the thoughts and taking the wounds that you felt from your past and using them to empower you so you can become something stronger than you were, and you can change and really, become what it is that you're able to become. So this is great. I think you're in a stale, sort of cold moment right now, but you're going to get through. Just make sure that you're putting the time and the effort in to readjust, learn from your mistakes. Don't take cheap solutions. Don't listen to the devil. Put in the energy to fix things, grow from your wounds, and become the Queen of Wands. And I think you're going to be very, very happy. So I hope this was helpful, Scorpio, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.